Please get ready for a dictation of transcription number 330 and 331 from Sir Kailash Chandra magazine. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I take my stand here to support the Constitution Amendment Bill moved by Shri Thomas. I think he has done a service to this House and to this country by drawing the attention of this country to the very important aspect that unless right to work is made a fundamental right in the Constitution and every young man and woman is guaranteed some job, the very basic premise of our Constitution is going to flounder. Our Constitution in the preamble guarantees justice, social, economic and political. Article 19(1)(a) of the Fundamental Rights guarantees freedom of speech and expression. Article 21 guarantees protection to life, and Article 23 says that there will not be any traffic in human beings and beggary is prohibited. All these fundamental rights and the laudable principles laid down in the preamble can have no effect if millions of unemployed men and women in this country move about in search of job and livelihood. Today, the unemployment register shows that there are millions of unemployed men and women. Even that, I think it is a tip of the iceberg because a large section of our men and women do not register themselves either because facilities are not available or it is not known to them in many rural areas that they have to register themselves, and also because of the indifference that even if they register themselves, they are not going to get the job. I believe the greatest threat that this country is facing in all its aspects is from these unemployed young people. Every young unemployed man and woman, in my view, is a potential bomb. We talk of very high principles, of democratic ways, and of moral values. But what does it mean to a young man if he cannot sustain himself by 2 square meals a day, if we talk to him that he has to maintain certain values in life, because after all, one cannot maintain values without an empty stomach. Therefore, this state owes a duty to the country and to these young men and women that they must be given the minimum security of their life. Article 19(1)(a) guarantees freedom of speech and expression. To whom? Freedom of speech and expression to those who have got sufficient means to exercise that freedom. That freedom is not available to the millions here. After all, a man who does not have even 1 square meal a day, what freedom of speech and expression can he ever hope to aspire? After all, he shall have either to beg, borrow, or steal from somebody to maintain his livelihood. Article 21 gives protection of life and personal liberty. The highest court of this land has given an extensive meaning to the words right to life. But the right to life connotes, in my respectful submission, that he must have the means to maintain his life. When the state guarantees or when this Constitution guarantees right to life to an individual, automatically it follows that there must be a guarantee that he can maintain his life. If we cannot guarantee 2 square meals a day to him, if we cannot guarantee to him the subsistence level, what is the use of having Article 21 in the Constitution saying that you have the right to life? Traffic in human beings and beggary are prevented and prohibited. But what can a man do? Either he shall have to go for illegal means or irregular means, and even for trafficking in human beings or beggary. In Article 39, which deals with the directive principles of state policy, in Part A, it has been said that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood. In fact, when the Constitution was framed, a number of very eminent personalities spoke about the inherent rights of man to maintain himself. At that time, it was thought that to make this right justiciable, to give a justiciable right would probably be a tremendous burden on the state. And the framers of the Constitution at that point of time decided not to introduce it in the fundamental rights. But we know this has been said not only from this side of the House but also from the other side of the House. Mr. Bhardwaj has on a number of occasions said that the directive principles are the conscience of the Constitution. In fact, one can find the real fragrance of the Constitution not in the fundamental rights but in the directive principles. This House and the other House on a number of occasions had to go on for constitutional amendments to give primacy to directive principles over fundamental rights. The framers of the Constitution, when the directive principles were being discussed, made it amply clear that though at that point of time it was not possible to bring in all the laudable provisions made in the directive principles within the scope of the fundamental rights, yet they should be made justiciable. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, while intervening in this debate, I would like to thank the honorable members who have contributed to this debate. Each and everyone has given words of praise for our armed forces. They have supported us. Not only they supported us, but they have urged that government should provide more funds for the defense forces. As regards the parliamentary committee, which has been mentioned by some members, there was a recommendation, but it has not been accepted, nor has it been rejected. We have started certain schemes and started implementation of these recommendations. Once these recommendations are implemented and once we have the feedback, then we would like to consider whether a parliamentary committee is at all necessary. But we can say at this stage that the government has neither rejected nor accepted the formulation of the parliamentary committee. A mention has been made that army should not be deployed time and again for civil aids. It is always the policy of the government, so also of the defense ministry, that we never encourage it unless it is absolutely necessary. The army has played a very good role in helping the civilian administration when they are called for at the time of natural calamities and for combating terrorist activities in various parts of the country. They have maintained good relations with civilian population. Of late, unfortunately, there are some criticisms when army has been deployed in Manipur and Tripura. And I can tell that army has never involved itself in any other activities than those which they have been assigned for, that is, countering the insurgency. We have seen that insurgency in Nagaland has been stopped. We have seen that after the army was inducted in Tripura, peace has not only come, but the killings have been stopped. This is a good sign. Army has been assigned with the particular job and they are doing it. Not only that, when army goes to different remote areas, they take certain steps to develop better contact with the people. In Tripura, I myself have seen that the army has taken medical team along with their combat team and they have given medical aid to the people of that area. In addition to this, they have organized various activities there through distribution of foodstuffs among the children, and they have also given nourishing food to the children. It will be wrong to say that some political parties are trying to say something against the army. I would like to put on record that there is no truth in it. In Mizoram, in northeastern region, army has always proved that whatever assignment has been given to them, they have performed it with sincerity, and we always believe that army must have a good relation with the public, and we will continue to do so. But the mention of the defense preparedness, as I said, my senior colleague will deal with it. I would like to say that we have an organization under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, the Border Roads Organization. It was formed in 1960. This organization has a perspective plan for 15 years. They go in the remotest areas where it is very difficult to maintain the communications. They are doing very good work and they will continue to do good work. This is basically necessary to give easy access to our armed forces in the border areas adjoining Pakistan and China, as well as in remote areas where there is security hazard. The Border Roads Organization has done very well, and I shall have to put on record my thanks to the Border Roads Organization. The armed forces are there to protect the borders of our country, but at the same time, we must prepare our civilian population also. Our government has basically taken steps to prepare a citizen force, that is the territorial army. We are happy that this territorial army, when they have been called for any national service, has done a good job. We have seen that the territorial army has also played a very important role when there was a strike in the Indian Railways. We are not concerned how and when the strike has to be diffused. We are called for to give service when the public suffers. We take this responsibility. We have no reasons to interfere whether the strike is legitimate or not. We, as Defense Ministry, do not interfere in that. Stop.